Hello and welcome to the latest vlog from bloodyflix.co.uk. I'm the editor Paul Downey. Today we're going to look at a different kind of film than we're used to looking at, and that is Blade Runner 2049. This was a film that I kind of held off seeing for quite a long time. Waited for the Blu-ray to come out, and I think it came out earlier this week, and I got a copy of it and gave it a watch. A lot of people were initially put off by the film being it clocks in around about 2 hours 40 minutes long, so it is a real marathon, but undoubtedly it is the best film of 2017. I have no doubt about that, certainly from the films that I've seen. There were some great horror films in 2017. There was It, there was Get Out, there was The Hounds of Love, which I constantly rave about, but this as a film as a whole is truly epic. It is brilliant. That's the only way I can really put it. We kind of follow on from the original Blade Runner story, picking up 30 years later, but in the same way that Star Wars kind of is creating a new trilogy set 30 years after Return of the Jedi. This Blade Runner film takes place around 30 years after the events of the first film, and we basically follow a different journey. So it isn't all about Harrison Ford's character, Deckard. Harrison Ford does feature in it, but he is not the focal point of the film. That kind of goes to Ryan Gosling's Kay, who's what we think is a replicant. He's basically a replicant cop who's searching for Blade Runners and taking them down, and also on other missions is kind of on a quest to find out his own identity in a way. And that's very much the basic theme of the film is what is his identity. But it's done in such a really layered and fascinating way. Denis Villeneuve has really created something that, in my opinion, is far superior to the original. It kind of takes things onto a whole new level. It's visually beautiful. The cinematography is amazing. And it doesn't overuse CGI, which was always the worry with something like Blade Runner, which Ridley Scott created, which was very raw, very dank, and it kind of created this really downtrodden noir, futuristic noir setting, and this is kind of the next level to that. We still have elements of that where basically almost like smog clouds and things like that have taken over parts of America. I think parts like, if I recall right, places like San Francisco that are just waste grounds where basically the remnants of their societies kind of almost just live on the breadline and basically just survive. They're not living, they're just surviving. Whereas there's other parts that basically kind of resemble that kind of like that dystopia of it's almost like a kind of futuristic Tokyo with the big interactive signs, a bit similar to what we saw in the original, but again taken on to a bit more of a complex level. But make no doubt about it, this is Gosling's film, whereas the first one, was a real tour de force for Harrison Ford. Gosling really takes on the role and it becomes something really. It's probably the best thing he's done, probably arguably other than Drive, which again was another kind of unique term for him. Some of his kind of quirky turns don't always work. I wasn't really that big on Only God Forgives. But definitely this is worth seeing. But it's kind of in a way it kind of keeps you waiting. So in terms of like when Star Wars reintroduced Han Solo with Harrison Ford in the role, it was kind of you got to see him quite early, and it became his film. Whereas this clearly isn't his film. This is about the new generation. But Deckard plays such an important role in this film when he does arrive. And he doesn't really arrive until the last hour, but Harrison Ford is such a good actor that you kind of know what to expect from him, and he just slips back into the role so easily. And that was the unique part of all this, because it was the same with Han Solo. He just seemed to effortlessly slip back into the role really comfortably, like he'd just kind of done the role last year. And you kind of forget that Blade Runner was made in the 80s by Ridley Scott, so that in itself is an achievement. It's full of twists and turns. It keeps you guessing. It doesn't. There was potential there in case they were thinking of maybe building a franchise. There are hints to a kind of a wider world to this story, but it ends in such a way that you are left really satisfied. It's the perfect sequel. in terms of where the story goes. There are kind of, you know, there are parts that mirror the original. There's other parts that kind of change things up a bit, but it's a really full encapsulating story, and that's what really makes it stand out. There are other films out there, things like The Shape of Water, that are certainly, you know, that are getting rave reviews, that certainly I'll be checking out very soon. But for now, definitely the best film of 2017 in my humble opinion. Thanks very much.